from the 7th District, that is right in the heart of Central Virginia and the Richmond area. Congressman, great to have you.
Hey, John, great to be on.
Okay, Congressman, like it or not, you've become a symbol now of the conservative movement, not only in Virginia but in America. And the president wants to illegally give amnesty to 5, 6, 7 million illegal immigrants, along with work permits, Social Security benefits, Medicare benefits. We've already had the director of the Internal Revenue Service coming on saying they can get earned income tax credits by 36 months back without having paid anything in. Some immigrants who came here illegally and got a job illegally and was illegally hired now can get up to $24,000 cash in tax refunds, even if they haven't paid taxes. This is madness. What is going on?
Well, you teed it up perfectly. That's exactly what's going on. I pray every day, all day, and try to maintain an optimistic outlook, but I have no idea what our leadership is doing on this one, on the Senate side. John Boehner says he's going to stand tough and fight tooth and nail, and so I'm hoping that's the case. But, you know, we're backed into a corner now, and I hope we got some cards up our sleeve to keep this from happening. And the fundamental piece, right? I mean, I talk to the press every day in the halls here, every day, and I say this isn't about policy, right? This one is about the Constitution. The president has overstepped what you just said right there. I just talked to one of the top jurists in the country the other day. He's been in the Supreme Court over and over and over. I said, hey, am I out of bounds here? Does the president have any authority to be doing what he's doing? You know, they compare it to Bush and some of the actions back then. Absolutely not. This is creating new law out of whole cloth, and you just went through the list, right? Earned income tax credit up to $24,000 for people that are illegal, Social Security, the potential of voter fraud, and all of this stands on the shoulders of an unconstitutional action by the president. And he said it 22 times. I think everybody knows it. And so when that happens, then you say, okay, well, that can't happen in the greatest country on earth. The Congress and the Senate will stand up to him and knock him down because he's overreaching the executive. And Article 1 of the Constitution says, guess what? Congress makes laws, the president does not. He executes what the Congress does. So you tell this to the press, and they kind of just roll their eyes. And that's the generation we're living in. But the precedent going forward here would just be unnerving to grant the president this power, any future president, without blocking them constitutionally. And so I'm trying to articulate that as best I can to the press up here, to the folks back home. I hope the grassroots dig in big time here, because this is it.
This is it, Congressman. I agree with that 100%. We've been championing this issue for some time, trying to get people involved, because we're now calling it the Republican Extinction Act, because you know that the next phase of this is they're going to get illegally registered to vote, and they already have an ID. Look, these are people, Congressman, that have already broke the law at least 2 times. 1, to get in, and number 2, to work. So what's the difference if they break it a 3rd time? But here's my question.
Yep.
Obama's going to legalize up to 5 million new workers. Look, we've got millions of unemployed and underemployed Americans living paycheck to paycheck. Who's standing up for them?
Well, that you got the right question, and you said, you know, everybody focuses on the Republican side because at least we articulate principles in public and try to stand up for them. That's what I ran on. That's what I'm trying to do. I hope that's clear. So, but it shouldn't be the Republican Extinction Act. It should be the Democrat Extinction Act, right? If anyone has their head on straight, I'd hope we'd at least have one Democrat ally in the Senate. It's shocking. We don't. We have 2 Democrat senators from Virginia, so you can do the math on there. We don't have anyone on our side on a constitutional issue. No one's going there. Mark Warner told my constituents that on a big issue like immigration, the best way to get a comprehensive solution is to take it through the legislative process. Well, let's do that. But they blocked it. They filibustered. They wouldn't let anything come up through the Senate at all. And so the Democrats need to put their money where their mouth is. And now they're fear-mongering about, you know, shutdowns, et cetera. Democrats are even going on MSNBC and saying that Republicans should listen to people like John McCain and Lindsey Graham on this bill. And we have Republicans going around saying we're going to shut down the government. We have Republicans sharing Democrat talking points. It's nonsense. It's not about a government shutdown. It's about the United States Constitution. And so you say, who's standing up for the American people? Well, just do the math. Anyone that's taken a strong stand here and fighting the president and for the Constitution here, that's what's going on.
The bottom line is, it's like with the Republicans, we've met the enemy and it's us, right? Why should the Democrats do anything? Why should they do anything? Because at the end of the day, they know the Republicans are going to cave. So look, they had their filibuster. 7 of them wouldn't budge. They knew at the end of the day that McConnell would raise the flag and Obama wins again.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. The Democrats put us in a terrible spot, but now it is on us, right? So the spotlight is on the Republicans. And so I will just highlight, right, if the American people want to understand what's going on here, take a look at the messaging that we as Republicans did on Keystone over and over and over all day. Messaging points, how we're going to win, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, now that's important. That'll help the economy grow. It's good for energy, da-da-da-da-da. But it's not anywhere in the ballpark of the issue we're talking here, the unconstitutional amnesty. It's not the amnesty issue. It's the unconstitutionality of it. And so just look at the messaging coming out of our side there and press us to do a better job. I'm a team player, but I ran on the Virginia Republican creed, and the Constitution's in there, free market's in there, equal treatment under laws in there. That's what I ran on.
Congressman, is John Boehner going to hold firm, or is the House going to follow suit and raise another white flag?
Well, he's promised us he's going to stand firm, and so I'm going to take him at his word. And so we as of this point, he went so far yesterday as to say that he's dug in his heels on this. We're going to maintain our stand. And so, I hope that's the case. But there's huge forces working against us. You know the history of this issue. I ran back when it was just the Chamber of Commerce, and that's the question in the back of our minds. Is there some deal that's been sketched out already? So all of this is just a foregone conclusion. We're going to deliver cheap labor to big business when our labor markets are still in chaos. People can't find jobs. We got 46 million people on food stamps in this country. People can't find work. My college kids can't find work coming out of college in their field of study, 40% of them, something on that order. And that's where we stand. So everything is on our side here. It's very simple, the calculation, what our leader Boehner has to stand clear on, right? It's the Democrats, all the Republican bill just defunds a narrow part of DHS, only having to do with the president's overreach. So any of this talking about shutting down Homeland Security is just nonsense. 85% of the workers at DHS have to report anyway because it's a sensitive area for national security. So the talking points on this, Homeland Security shutdown, it's too much to take. And the timing, right, of this Mall of America and all of this coming up at the last minute. The president has never mentioned a threat to the homeland. And just mysteriously, it appears out of thin air, the week before we're going to have a DHS, this shutdown, conversation. It's too much to take.
It seems very fishy. It doesn't really pass the stink test. Republican Congressman, 7th District of Virginia, Dave Brat, now the symbol basically of the conservative movement in America in the House of Representatives, and he's been able to accomplish that in, let's see, Dave, how long you've been there? 9 weeks or 10 weeks? Let's get back to
that's kind of you. But let me add the huge asterisk there. It's not me. It's the people of the 7th District. They work like crazy, and they're tireless. It's everything from St. John's Church and Patrick Henry all the way up to James Madison. That's in the DNA, and they put me in to do my job. And so I'm trying to do that. And Congress, just to add on what's going on here, right? It's the Congress has been abdicating its power to the executive and the judiciary for a long time. And that's really what's going on, right? It's kind of a incumbency protection plan for members of Congress. Right. Because if you speak up, you may actually lose your seat. But this issue, it's too big. If you want to have a third branch of government called the Congress, we better step up and do our job.
Okay, so the bottom line is right now, it looks like certainly the DHS is not going to get defunded or whatever it is. They're going to pass this, strip everything out. And by the way, just as an aside, I'm sure you saw in the news that for all the complaining about DHS not having any money, they found $150 million to spend on new office furniture, chairs, and knickknacks. So I'm not sure about the money game. But the bottom line is this thing is looks like it's going to go through. It's going to get funded. Then we're going to have a separate bill based on Obama's illegal amnesty. That might have enough votes to get through. But then Obama just vetoes it anyway. So that becomes just a shell game, right?
Yeah, no, the money thing, and I don't even get in the weeds on that because everybody wants to move ahead to this shutdown thing. And it's more fundamental than that. You know, go back, James Madison, Federalist, number 58, I think it is, on the power of the purse. He said something on, this power over the purse, he says, is regarded as the most complete and effectual weapon with which any constitution can arm the immediate representatives of the people for obtaining a redress of every grievance and for carrying into effect every just and salutary measure. Right? That's James Madison, the author of the Constitution, saying the power of the purse, exactly what we're trying to do here is use the power of the purse. He said it should be able to redress every single grievance. The power of the purse, money, should be able to fix that. Why is that? Because we're the body closest to the people. We have the most powerful tool given to us by our greatest founder. And so that's the issue. When it comes down to this money, the Democrats and the press like to go into this government shutdown dialogue. And the conversation needs to stay much higher, the principles involved.
It's just nonsense. Congressman, let's get to net neutrality. This looks to me like Obamacare mob bell for the Internet. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not a good sign when the secretaries and leaders won't show up to testify on it. I mean, that's kind of a hint that something's going on there. And so I'm very reluctant to move forward on any of that. I think you got the logic about right. At this time of mistrust and executive overreach, it's not time to hand the federal government more power. It's time to strip it away and give it back to the states. And just as an aside, I just want to say, while I'm on the record and on the radio, and believe me, I appreciate the opportunity, on education, et cetera, the other side, I was on the education committee, made some comments, and the left, blogs it all out. Dave's against education, da-da-da-da-da. And nothing could be further from the truth. My whole life is dedicated to education and poverty. But what we conservatives are for is taking the money and the power and giving it to the states and to the local people and educators so they have the flexibility to do what they want to do. We're trying to empower people at the state and local level, and that applies to every issue we're talking about.
BB, Benjamin Netanyahu, coming to Congress to speak. John Boehner invited him. Administration mad over that. Wrong thing, right thing. What say you?
Oh, it reminds me of being on a liberal academic campus or someone and people pouting over free speech. I mean, we have our key ally, our great friend in the Judeo-Christian tradition, coming to speak before Congress, invited on the most dangerous element of national security coming up, the expansion of nuclear weapons by an enemy who in print says they want to kill us. And there's a debate on this. I mean, I can't comprehend what's going on, right? It's our greatest friend on the greatest principles who share adherence to individual rights under the law. And I welcome him. I can't wait to hear his comments. I wish everybody would be open-minded and at least wait to hear him out. And then in a free country, if you disagree with him, you can disagree. But everything I've heard him say, he's on point and on message in terms of our own national security. It seems to me we're all on the same team here. And so if you see no shows, boy, it's a clear sign what's going on in the well of Congress.
Absolutely. That's going to be the final word from Congressman Republican Dave Brat, 7th District of Virginia. Dave, people want more information on you. Where do they go?
Yep, just davebrat.com. And, come to my district office if you're in the Richmond area or up in D.C. We'd love to have you bring your kids. We'll give you a nice tour up here. It's a beautiful place. So you just avoid the press and some of the nonsense.
Well, except me, right? You don't want to avoid me.
Except for you, no. That's right. The good guys.
All right, we want to thank Dave Brat for being with us live on Radio Row. Dave Brat, Congressman, 7th District Republican. This guy's the real deal. I'm on radio